I could have gone so many different directions with this video. I could have been a full-blown grifter. I could have supported it. I could have rode the wave with it on the left side of politics. But in the end, I've stayed true to myself. I'm going to speak about the actual reasons why it's a bit crazy this has all happened. Maybe GW will retcon their retcon. For those of you that don't know, there was a book that came out again this week that has seemingly removed female Custodies by using him pronouns and referring to the brother.
Well, let me tell you something, brother!
Since come out and said that that was a lapse in judgment and an error. For some reason, no editors seem to have read the book. And that's fine, that can be the case, but these kind of things don't happen, surely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said ladies because apparently you guys watch a lot of Warhammer and need representation. Grab your bolters, sit tight, because we're going to dive into some grifting. So, that's right, we're talking about the female Custodies debate. An arc so brief, apparently, it makes Grot's lifespan on the forefronts look like an eternity. Let's break down the lore first, then we're going to get into some grifting and talk about BlackRock and the Amazon show, all the fun stuff. But I want to take it to a serious note first about why I think this is so stupid. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Women in Warhammer 40k. Women appear in every single faction. Not only that, before you start typing furiously about representation in all armies, let's remember that the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, exist and are amongst the coolest factions in the lore. They're the army I play on the tabletop. Their lore is fucking sick. They are essentially crusaders that uphold the Ministerium. I butchered that. These ladies are literally walking, literally. Saint Celestine leads the charge with flaming swords, resurrects like Mercy from
Heroes
Overwatch.
never die.
Resurrects herself like Mercy from Overwatch, along with others. She's some divine cheat code and got her ult up every 5 minutes. So to those complaining that Warhammer 40k needs more female representation, we already have some of the most badass women in all of sci-fi lore. The Sisters are nuns with guns. Alright, let's get back to the Custodies. The Emperor's personal bodyguards, golden demigods, genetic perfection, forged through science, faith, and a sprinkle of do not question his fucking will. These guys are not soldiers, they're living weapons. They're not good guys, they're bred for one purpose, to protect the Emperor above all else, and they've always been men. GW hit us with a quick double down that they've always been women female Custodies. Here's why there cannot be. Let's quickly go back to the differences between the Astartes and the Custodians. These lie in their respective processes and the degree of which precision is required. While both involve physical grueling and genetic modifications, the Custodians' creation is far more individualized and intricate. The Astartes, the Space Marines, are mass-produced weapons of mass destruction. In a sense, they're created using a standardized template, a process involving the implantation of gene-seed organs, which derive from the genetic material of their Primarch. This process, while still lethal and arduous, is replicable. It can be scaled, hence why the Space Marines 4 days. Aspirants are subjected to a series of surgeries, hypno-conditioning, and intense training. But the procedure follows a template. It's like building a house next to another house, making it effectively efficient. The resulting super warriors are superhumans, but their creation emphasizes quality alongside quantity. Custodes, on the other hand, are a work of art. Each one is crafted through a bespoke processing tailored to the individual. While the Emperor's personal oversight ensuring their transformation into unparalleled warriors, this genetic alchemy was designed to elevate them beyond their capabilities of the Astartes. Their enhancements are not standardized, but instead meticulously adapted to the genetic profile of each individual. This makes the Custodes far fewer in number, but vastly superior physically and mentally. Since the Emperor's internment, the Custodes' creation has been drastically impaired. The scientists tasked with continuing his work lack the genius and ability to adapt these methods to individuals. This has resulted in a tragic reversal of efficiency. Where the Emperor could create dozens of Custodians annually, the current process barely produces one. In contrast, the Astartes creation process remains functional, albeit with the occasional imperfections, but it's standardized, so that the Emperor doesn't have to be involved. This is the fundamental difference that underscores the impossibility of female Custodians. If adapting the Custodies process to work without the Emperor's oversight is already near insurmountable challenge, adapting it to female biology without his involvement at all would be exponentially more difficult. The Custodies process is not modular or flexible like that of the Astartes. It is bespoke craft, and without the Emperor's hand, even in its original form whilst he was doing it, it was barely sustainable. Creating a Custodes has always been a process fraught with challenges, even under the direct guidance of the Emperor. The Custodes were not simply made, they were sculpted. Each candidate exclusively from the genetic pure nobles of the families in Terra. Under a process that's so advanced it borderlines on the arcane, the Emperor himself describes it as genetic alchemy, a method that relies on his unique genius to unlock hidden potential in these chosen children. He tailored the process for each individual, forging the proverbial key to fit each lock. Despite his unmatched skill, many aspirants did not survive, yet with the Emperor at the helm, the success rate was unparalleled. He could create 50 Custodes a year, resulting in the Golden Legion reaching its legendary strength of 10,000 warriors within 200 years. I think I've gotten that right. However, since the Emperor was stuck on this big ass fucking throne doing nothing but getting others killed, the process has been devoured into a shadow of its former self. It's now seen by normal humans who at best have only a passing understanding of what the hell happened before him. So instead of forging keys that open these rigid locks, they're now using one key and hoping to see what box opens. This has led to catastrophic inefficiencies and mortality rate. They're all fucking dying. Why are we giving noble women to the Emperor, to these dudes, to Frankenstein them in the hopes that they could create one, when we could simply just have more families if women were to stay alive? Hence the ultra-traditionalist view back in World War II, where women wouldn't fight because when we had to restore the population, we just went back. So, the Imperium now struggles to create one. Thousands of noble-born children are subjected to grueling trials each year, and almost all of them perish. The scale of failure is staggering, a grim testament to how little the Imperium truly cares about people, but also how little we know about the Emperor's genius. This dire situation makes the creation of female Custodes laughable. If geneticists cannot reliably recreate the process on men that it was already made for, and they're just copying a script that they thought they had, then why could they change it to adapt to female biology? It's a death sentence for any noble. So that's my serious point of view. Now if you want to stick around for the grifting, gentlemen, do not underestimate the fucking archenemy. This whole debacle smells of Zinch. Think about it. Who else but the Changer of Ways could concoct such a divisive scheme? Imagine a demon infiltrating the Imperial Palace disguised as a female Custodes, sowing chaos and mistrust among the Imperium's finest. That's the kind of plot that GW should lean into. Give us a story about it. The False Custodian, a tale of tragic, intriguing betrayal, the Imperium's never-ending struggle against the forces of chaos. Now that would sell, but no. Instead we got this stupid, short-lived fucking Femstodes arc that was never going to fly amongst the fans. We like traditionalism here. Warhammer fans are loyal and a vocal bunch. We're rioting in Terra right now. We gatekeep 40k not because we're afraid of change, but because we love the lore as it is. It's grimdark, it's uncompromising, it's unapologetically niche. If you're trying to turn it into something it's not, then maybe Warhammer isn't for you. And this is what happens with everything that the woke hammer mob get involved in, or any woke people get involved in. They come in, they don't care about it, they don't spend thousands on painting miniatures, they don't spend thousands reading books and then crack a hard on when Horus talks in the Horus Heresy books. They just come in because they want something to gain a little scalp on. That's all they want here. So, here's the thing. GW rarely admits they made mistakes. Most big companies don't, right? Let's look at another beer company potentially over the last couple of years that made a little bit of a boo-boo. Did they apologize? Nope, but they fixed it. They sure as hell fixed it. They got back on path and fixed it all up. Sounded like the man that kind of just then for a second. Similarly, GW are probably hoping that this all goes under the rug eventually. No apologies, no explanations. Just a quiet walk back. We'll jump onto the next thing. We might not talk about the Custodies for the next long time, so we can all forget about it. So, I think, these are some personal opinions, but let's talk about Amazon. A big streaming giant that's apparently got some show in the works with Henry Cavill that's forced the stock prices to go through the fucking roof. For those of you that aren't aware, GW is doing very good now. Add to the fact that BlackRock and Vanguard hold basically all the shares. Let's be clear, big money has entered the theme. So do you really think they're going to stay away from controversial moves? Do you not think that sometimes this woke crap is just to get it onto the front page where we all start talking about it and rile up enough people that it involves others that ought to have not been in the hobby in the first place? I'm talking on the left and the right. So the Custodies might be gone for now. Apparently they're not. Who really knows? Don't be surprised if it just rocks up somewhere down the line. It's got to be a bit more inclusive for the whole Amazon community to get involved. So here's the silver lining. The community. You, me, our fandom is passionate, it's knowledgeable. Let's be honest, it's pretty fucking terrifying. We're all on the spectrum a little bit. But we're the ones that keep the universe alive. Whether it's through painting miniatures, bad fan fiction, debating lore, we just gatekeep. I can't help but wonder who the fuck in the Imperium approved this lore update. You see, there was some weird screenshot published in the 10th edition of Codex Astartes, the Codex Adeptus Astartes, that introduced something never spoken about in 40k lore. That up until this point does not hold any water. It clashed with all storytelling and the balance of the universe. The Emperor personally foresaw everything. Who's doing that now? The genetic alchemy required to make Custodes is so advanced and difficult without gender being a factor. So if the Imperium didn't create the female Custodes when he had the capability to do up to 40,000 millennia, who did? And in this cultural standpoint, the Imperium's hyper-traditionalist structure makes this even less likely. Why now that the Emperor is stuck to a throne would we now want to meddle with his dealings and create female Custodes to be his bodyguard? The dude has been sitting on a throne for a long fucking time, probably doesn't want things to change with how he left them. So, those of you that completely disagree, how does this addition enhance the story of Warhammer lore? How does it align with the world building rules? And where does it advance the story? Peace out.